What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right. So before I go into the video, I want to give you some information. All right. Just break down some information as to why, if the Clippers lose to the Denver Nuggets in this series, I'm going to tell you why this would be such a monumental collapse. Okay. Why this would be such an epic upset, no matter how much they trying to downplay it. You know, the commentators in that game, I was noticing that. Number one, the Clippers as a franchise have been one of the worst franchises in sports history. I mean, right up there with like the Detroit Lions, the Cleveland Browns, you know, just up there. Notoriously underachieving. Okay. I mean, aside from the fact that they've never won a championship, okay, and this team has championship aspirations, and some people have them as the favorites. Aside from that, they've never been to an NBA Finals, and not only that, this team has never even made it to a conference championship, okay? And this isn't a team that just came about 5, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. This franchise, when you go all the way back to the Buffalo Braves years, goes back some near 50 years, okay? And they've never even gotten out of the semis. And the way they're playing right now, they may not get out of the semis again. This would be one of the most monumental upsets in the history, in my opinion, of sports. Not just the NBA, of sports. I don't care how much they're trying to downplay it. All right. If you go back all the way to back when they were the Buffalo Braves in the Eastern Conference, all right, they lost in the conference semifinal. I'll just say second round. All right, they lost in the second round to the Boston Celtics, 4-2. The Celtics went on to win the championship that year. So okay, you know, not too bad. This is the days of, you know what I'm saying, Bob McAdoo and Randy Smith and those guys, right? So the very next year, 1975, they lost to the Washington Bullets in the second round, 4-3. Now, the Wizards, of course, not too bad, all right? I mean, that team went on to go to the finals. They were favored, coached by Casey Jones, but they lost to the Golden State Warriors, led by Rick Barry. I mean, it's not a terrible loss, okay? The next year, they lost in the semifinals to the Boston Celtics, 4-2. Now, by this point, you don't like the fact that you keep only plateauing in the semifinals. All right, Boston did go on to win the championship of the year. I think 4-2 against the Phoenix Suns. Then that was that for many years. You got to go all the way to 2006. When they were now the Los Angeles Clippers in the Western Conference, and they lost in the second round to the Phoenix Suns, Steve Nash's Suns, 4-3. Okay, actually played rather well. The coach at the time, I believe, was Mike Dunleavy. Then in 2012, all right, they lost in the second round to the Spurs, 4-0. I think the coach at that time was, I just saw it, it was Vinny Del Negro, okay? Just a year before, I think 2 years before, actually, Doc Rivers got there. Now, 2006, that's a team that had Elton Brand and Vin Baker and Sam Cassell and Cuttino Mobley. You know, that was a decent team. Vladimir Radmanovic. It was okay, not a championship team, but, you know, a good team. So them making it that far in the second round is, you know, unless, I guess, meeting expectations or exceeding expectations a little bit. All right. But this is where it gets more murky. All right. Now, in 2014, when Doc Rivers is the head coach, They lost in the second round to the Thunder 4-2. Now, this is the Lob City era. I think I recall in that series both Blake Griffin and Chris Paul suffering injuries. So that was the excuse, I think, in that series. The very next year, this is the one that they should have won. Doc Rivers' Clippers were up 3-1 against the Houston Rockets. They blew that lead and lost 4-3. I remember one of those games when they was coming back, the Rockets had something like 50 points in the fourth quarter. Josh Smith, who is not in the NBA now because of analytics and the fact that he was a terrible three-point shooter, inexplicably made like 3 or 4 3-pointers in a game, one of those games down the stretch, come off the bench. I mean, it was just some weird shit, man. Okay. And, you know, so when you look at the history of this team, they have missed the conference finals 7 or 8 times, going back to when they were with Buffalo. And they're on the verge of doing it again. And I'm not even going to look at numbers, man. I know Paul George got off. Kawhi, you know, I don't know what's going on with Kawhi. I don't know. He doesn't look the same physically to me right now. I don't know if I don't know. I'm not going to make any fucking excuses for him. Okay? I don't know what's going on with this team, but they need to get their shit together. Let me first go at Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, the last 2 years, I have been elevating you to a lofty position. I have been elevating you to the likes of a Jordan and a Kobe. Okay? And look, at the end of the day, they would have not have allowed their team to consistently take their foot off the pedal the way that you guys have. I'm not saying the Bulls were perfect. The Bulls did have defensive lapses. But you know what? That shit was very, very fleeting at best. Okay? You better believe that in any game that the Bulls, you know what I'm saying, were not at their best collectively, and if a particular player did not play well, you already heard the stories about him and Horace Grant. Okay? At the end of the day, as the leader, as the alpha leader of that team, you set the tone. And maybe, man, I don't know, man. I know you got this reputation for being this quiet assassin. Maybe you need to be more vocal. I don't know, man. I don't know how you are behind closed doors, but I don't know what the fuck is going on with this fucking team. But to me, it's like, honestly, I know this sounds weird saying this, and maybe it just sounds weird for me saying this out my mouth, but it almost looked like this team has no rudder. Like, they don't have a glue to stick to. They have no emotional leader. Like, I'm wondering, how connected are these guys? Are they just a collection of talent expected to win a title on their own? You know, just because they're the Clippers, they show up on the court and they read their own press clippings, and they're probably better than everybody else. Because when I'm watching this team, they don't play as a unit. They don't look like they play as a team. They play as a group of talented individuals out there on the court. And whose fault is that? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's going on exactly. But they're going to lose this fucking series if this keeps up. And that's why I did a video yesterday saying I'm no longer going to keep comparing him to Kobe and Mike until further notice. until he shows me a consistent ability to be a leader. Now, he showed that last year with the Raptors. I don't know what's going on right now in the bubbles. Like, the bubble's been a funny thing, man. It's almost like people have flip-flopped and shit, man. Like, I don't know what's going on with the Clippers. Like, during the regular season, I used to sit up and say, okay, well, these guys haven't played together much as a unit. Maybe that's why they're inconsistent. But no, that laziness and inconsistency is catching up with their ass now. And to be really honest about it, if it wasn't for the fact that Denver was tired in game one from that 7-game series with Utah, Denver would have won the series tonight. 4-2. Denver's been the better team in the series so far. The only thing that saved saved the Clippers was that blowout in game one. Yeah, they've won 3 games. Don't get me wrong, they've won 3 games. But one of those games that they won, Denver should have won that one. But, Kawhi did come back and lead the charge, and they was able to hold off Denver. Now, if you look at this game today, if you look at this series, right, for the most part, Jamal Murray has not really had a great game. He's due for one. And you guys are struggling with Denver anyway. You've had Michael Porter Jr. emerge after that situation was called out, when he called out his coach. You know what I'm saying, about him getting more involved in the offense. Yeah, true. He shouldn't say anything like that. He should have said that to the coach, behind closed doors or to a teammate, whatever. But he's young. You know what I'm saying? When you're young, you're hungry. You know what I'm saying? You're ready to show what you can do. You're getting patient. And, I know he got, panned for doing that shit. But at the end of the day, I kind of like it because it shows that this guy wants to show what he can do. And he, not just show what he can do. He wants to contribute. He wants to win. And this guy's nailing this young player. He's out here playing like a fucking veteran. But you got these dudes who have all these adulations and all this praise in the media, and people like me praising them, and they playing like shit out there. I'm seeing Paul George missing layups. I'm seeing Kawhi missing layups. I'm seeing Kawhi all of a sudden thinking he's morphing into Ray Allen. I'm like, bro, I'm glad you can shoot threes, but can you be more aggressive? Is your knee hurting you that bad? If your knee's bothering you that bad, maybe you need to retire. Okay? If your knee's bothering you that bad, maybe you need to fucking retire. Okay? They've already acquiesced to your wishes, and you don't play 25% of the season. Okay? So I don't want to hear this shit about them, they're tired. I saw someone sit in the ticket stream. Shout out to Ticket TV. No, I don't want to hear that shit, man. Everybody's fucking tired. They're all tired. Okay? And in reality, they shouldn't be that tired. They had 3 months off. This is only the second round of playoffs. How the fuck you think the Knicks felt or the Celtics felt during those runs they had in 94 and 2008 when they played 25, 26, 27 playoff games after a full 82-game season? And those series went to 7 games, a lot of them. And speaking of that, Doc Rivers. I know a lot of people have been talking about Mike D'Antoni, and rightfully so, and he's split. He's left. You know what I'm saying? He's split like a deadbeat dad in the wind from the Houston Rockets, right? Going on to spread his mediocre coaching somewhere else, right? But let's be honest about you, Doc Rivers. Now, I've been trying to take up for your ass, right? Take it up for your ass. But let's be honest. Let's look at the record, Doc Rivers. When you were the coach of the Magic, you guys blew a 3-1 lead. I believe it was a 3-1 lead to the Detroit Pistons. right? When you had Tracy McGrady, celebrating prematurely, you guys blew that lead. Some people think you shouldn't have won Coach of the Year in '99, and that you really didn't deserve it. I remember Bill Walton saying that all the time, that he didn't think that Doc Rivers deserved that award. That was your first coaching gig after your retirement. I already mentioned your playoff failure in 2015, and there have been many times when your teams should have still won. I think that even though you guys didn't have Garnett, you guys still should have made it back at least to, I'm trying to remember, I think you guys got knocked out by Orlando in 2009 in the semis. I think it was Orlando. I think that team still should have been able to beat Orlando without Garnett. And even in that championship year, right, in 2008, a lot of people were saying, they won a title, but it was really Tom Thibodeau. I was like, nah, that's them just trying to be funny, not give credit to the brother. But you know what? A lot of times, it was the defense that got the Boston Celtics out of trouble. Remember in the finals, Boston came back from 24 points down to win a game against the Lakers. And then I think another game, they almost came back and won with their defense. Why were they down in the first place? Thibodeau was a defensive coach. So maybe Doc Rivers, you aren't a great coach. Maybe you're not. I know one thing. If you guys blow this fucking lead, if you guys I'm sorry. I know Denver's resilient and they're a really good team. They're a team of the future. They got Jokic. They got a lot of talent. They got Jamal Murray. I get that. But the Clippers, at the very least, have to make it to the Western Conference Finals. Okay? If they don't do that, then yeah, you know what? Fire Doc Rivers' ass. Because there's no fucking excuses for that. Now, that's another thing, man. There's no fucking accountability no more, man. I'm sick of people having excuses for fucking failures. Can anybody fucking take responsibility fucking more? The coronavirus, look, it was a Democratic hoax. No, it wasn't. It's like a bunch of fucking kindergartners. Grown-ass, wrinkled-ass, old motherfuckers acting like kindergartners. But love to point the finger at other people. Fuck this country sometimes, man. Let me get back to sports, though. But yeah, man, I'm watching Denver today, excuse me, and I'm looking at these motherfuckers once again blowing a fucking big lead, and you fucking lose by 13. I think it was 111-98. What the fuck happened, man? Like I said, man, it's like a collection of individual talent. They don't play as a team. I don't see a lot of communication sometimes out there. Denver plays as a team. I don't know, man. It looked like watching the fourth quarter of that game, it looked like Denver was the championship level team and the Clippers were the exasperated, overmatched team. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't like the body language of the Clippers. It looked like they were shell-shocked. And Denver, a team that Mike and Kobe, those guys would have eliminated in Game 5. They would have stamped out that fucking run and put that team out their misery and ruined their confidence for another year. Denver's confidence is at an all-time high now. Now you're in a Game 7. They ain't got shit to lose. They have nothing to lose, even if they lose the series. Look, we showed we belong at the very least. Now the pressure's on the Clippers. Pressure's on in a Game 7, the pressure's on everybody, but now it's really on the Clippers because You're supposed to win this series. That's what happens when you keep fucking around. When you keep fucking around, thinking that you just, you believe everything these motherfuckers say on TV. You know what I'm saying? But that's another thing I said too. That's the difference between, a guy like Morris scoring 20 points a game for the Knicks and trying to score in crunch time. Or, a guy scoring 19 points a game during the regular season, but then doing it in the playoffs when they need you to score. You know what I'm saying? Not just when your team's up by 10 or 15 points down the stretch in garbage time. But, yeah, man, if they lose, Kawhi Leonard, he's just another great player to me, man. He's just another great player. That's why I was resistant talking about he was top 30. I got to see more. Top 30, top 50, I might give you. But top 30, when you've only really been an all-star for 3 years, nah. I need to see more. For you to go above some of these other greats, all-time greats who put in work for 10, 15, close to 20 goddamn years. For me to put, and I know this might sound crazy, but for me to put Kawhi over even Reggie Miller right now, I need more. Now, I know Reggie never won a fucking championship. But Reggie Miller ain't played with Paul George either. You know what I'm saying? He ain't played with a team like the Clippers or the Warriors or the Lakers right now. The best team he ever played on, to me, potentially, other than 1998, was 2004, 2005, which unfortunately was destroyed because of that fucking fight. You know what I'm saying? But nah, for me to rank Kawhi high, he has to perform on a level that you expect an all-time elite legend to perform at. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different levels. Like, if you want me to put Kawhi on the same level as Jordan and Kobe and Bird and Magic and Olajuwon, those guys who were consistent, dominant playoff performers, that he has to perform as expected. I'm not saying that he has to always win a championship, but when your team needs you to go out there, you got to perform. And at the end of the day, right now, it's on Kawhi Leonard. Game 7, it's on Kawhi Leonard, man. The same way LeBron came out and dictated the tone in that game yesterday where they eliminated the Rockets, Kawhi need to come out there and dominate. He comes out there again passive, shooting threes, deferring, you know what I'm saying, and they fucking lose, or he doesn't show any aggression on defense. That's another thing. What happened to this man's defense? Now, I know that he might be trying to conserve some energy on offense, but nah, man. You got to do whatever you got to do. Like, what happened to these guys' defense? This is a guy that was a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, and I'm watching him in these games, and although he shows flashes at times, he looks kind of ordinary on defense. What the fuck is going on with this team? You got him, you got Paul George, you got Patrick Beverley, you got Montrezl Harrell. I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on with this team, man. Meanwhile, you got a whole bunch of unsung motherfuckers on Denver. These motherfuckers just popping trays, man. Just fucking going off and just nailing threes and shrugging like Jordan and laughing and high-fiving. And you got Doc Rivers in the fucking corner, in the huddle. Come on, guys, we can't be looking for calls. We better than that. Let's get out of here. Let's go. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. But you know what? Fuck it. I ain't gonna say it. Doc Rivers don't know about winning any fucking win. What the fuck he won? What did he win in the NBA? The Hawks was a team that never fucking really went to the. Let me think. I think the Atlanta Hawks in that era. I think they. You know what? Did the Atlanta Hawks ever make it to a conference finals? I don't think they did. During the Dominique Wilkins era. I don't think they ever made it to a conference finals. I think the closest they came was Game 7 when they played the Boston Celtics and Bird outdueled Wilkins in 88. I think it's the closest they ever got to a conference finals. Doc Rivers was on that fucking team. Then, of course, Doc Rivers played with the Spurs back when David Robinson was a superstar. Later on, that team underachieved. That was his last year. Of course, he played with the Knicks in the early to mid 90s. We know what they fucking did. You know what I'm saying? Now, he did make it to a finals in 94, but we saw what the Knicks did. So he's nothing. He comes from a long line of choking as a player and as a coach, or at least teams that have choked. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is, man, they better fucking win Game 7. That's all I fucking know. Because if they don't win Game 7, I want people to apologize to Russell Westbrook to an extent, because this will prove once again that it wasn't just Russell Westbrook's fault with OKC when Paul George was there. Okay? Because he ain't got no excuses no more. He's not fucking injured. Okay? Paul George looked like an MVP candidate playing with Russell Westbrook last year. He looked like an MVP candidate playing with Russell Westbrook. What's going on now? Come on, Lou Williams. Greatest sixth man ever. When are you going to step up? Come on, Montrezl Harrell. When are you going to dominate? Nikola Jokic is killing this fucking team, man. Nikola Jokic look like fucking a tall Larry Bird right now, man. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. And the scary part is Jamal Murray hasn't even really got off yet in this series. He ain't really got off yet, man. I think the Nuggets are going to lose, man. I think the Nuggets are going to win this series. The way that they were celebrating, their confidence is through the roof right now. The Clippers gotta come out like fucking Mike Tyson against Marvis Frazier. They have to set the tone, and not only set the tone, they gotta keep their fucking foot on this team's neck. Okay, I'm not saying that they're not going to make runs, because Denver makes runs, but you gotta keep that shit to a minimum, and you gotta counter their runs. You gotta kill this team's spirit. They're not doing it, man. I don't. Denver, please don't prove me wrong, man. Oh my God, man. I had nothing but high hopes for this Clippers team, man. And I've been making every fucking excuse for why they haven't been more consistent. But the way they look, man, I didn't like it. I did not like it one bit. The way they looked at the end of this game today, they look like a defeated team mentally. Like they can't beat this fucking team. They look like fucking, you know what I'm saying? They look like goddamn Apollo Creed. You know what I'm saying? Fighting Rocky. At first, they real confident. They beating them. You know what I'm saying? That everything's going well. Then Rocky comes back. You know what I'm saying? And comes back. He doesn't go away. He doesn't go away. He hangs around. And then you're in round 14, and he's fucking pummeling your ass. And all of a sudden, now you're starting to have doubts in your head. You know what I'm saying? You starting to have, like, doubts creeping in your head, like, why the fuck I can't beat this dude? I should have knocked this dude out fucking 8 rounds ago. Why is he still in this fucking ring with me? You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, man, but tell me what you guys think.